Hello, welcome to today's workout, which is a bodyweight, leg and glute workout. To begin, start marching on the spot and we'll get into a 5-minute warm-up. As you march in place, try to keep your feet in line with your hips and the toes pointing forwards. Swinging the arms back and forth. Gently lift the pelvic floor, the muscles that you use to stop the flow of urination. Engaging your core, and then lift the belly button back towards the spine, engaging the deep abdominals. Remember to breathe. Keep the chest lifted, shoulders are relaxed. Just a few more seconds, about 20 seconds. And then after this, going on to narrow to medium to wide squats, starting with the feet hip width apart, squat down, stand up. Step the left leg out slightly to the side, squat down, stand up, and then again, left foot even wider out. Then start bringing the right leg in, wide, medium, narrow, and then stepping out from narrow to medium to wide with the right leg. Bringing the left leg in from wide to medium to narrow, and then stepping back out to the left again. Medium, wide. Bring the right leg in, medium, narrow stance. And keep going. Right leg out to the medium stance. Right leg further out to a wide stance. Bringing the left leg into a medium stance. And in again to a narrow stance. Repeating a few more times. Inhale as you lower down and exhale to lift up. And then just finishing off on this last set, bringing the left leg back in, and then going into a reverse lunge with a twist. So start with your feet hip width apart, take a big step back with the right leg, right hand down, reach the left arm up, and then left hand down, and step forward. Step the left leg back, left hand down, inhale right arm up, exhale right arm down, step forward, and repeat 3 times on each side. Try to keep your legs active. Just starting to wake up the spine, and if you lose your balance a little bit, that's okay. Or just tuning in. So keep the belly button drawing back towards the spine and look at one point that doesn't move around, and that will help with your balance. And then come up to standing. Come into a squat position, or a half squat rather, and rotate the spine. Just loosening up the muscles surrounding the spine. Okay. Next up is jumping jacks. So start with your feet together and arms up overhead. Hopping the feet out to the side, landing softly on the toes, knees are bent. And bring the legs back together again. Keep breathing and try to keep your ribs drawing back as you move. Try not to let your chest pop out. Okay, then we'll go on to high knees, bringing the knees up towards the chest, or I like to press my thumbs into my chest and then bring my knees up to my hands so that I don't cheat and bring my hands down towards my knee, which is definitely what I want to do. And keep lifting belly to the spine, just a couple more. And then alternating ankle taps. Bringing ankle to opposite hand. Starting off with in the front, and then we'll move over to the back shortly. Just a couple more each side. And then bringing the leg behind you, so tapping your foot behind your hips. This can sometimes be confusing, but the more that you practice it, the easier it will get, and soon you won't have to think about it at all. Okay, finishing off, and then preparing for the workout. You may need a chair for this. So for today's workout, we'll be starting off with superset of 20 squats and 10 pistol squats or single leg squats. So I'm showing a few modifications. The easiest is a box squat or sitting down and standing up from a chair. When you sit down, try not to bounce off the chair. So sit for a moment before you come back up. More challenging is without using the chair, just body weight squats. And if you're comfortable with squats, then you can progress it and make it a bit more challenging using a weight. For squats, you want to ground down through the heels, and you want your knees to be going in the same direction as your toes. Try not to let the knees collapse in towards each other. So think about pressing the knees and the thighs out away from each other. Then the hips moving back in space and grounding down through the heels, pressing the floor away from you to come back up to standing. Lift the kneecaps up towards the hips and engage the glutes. So squeeze the bum. Inhale to lower down and exhale to lift up. And try to keep the chest lifted, so looking forwards rather than looking down. You can have your toes facing forwards, facing a little bit outwards, or you could have your feet wider apart, wider than hip width. Find the position that feels most comfortable for you. Okay, after your 20 squats, then coming into a single leg squat or a pistol squat. Easiest option is to use a chair. So lifting up right leg and then sitting back into the chair, placing right foot back down and standing up. This will be your starting position if you're not familiar with pistol squats. More challenging, as you stand up, you keep your right foot lifted. Try to keep the knee straight, and you will feel some work through your right quad to keep your right leg straight. Try to keep the hips level and ground down through the left heel to stand up. Ten on the left, and then once you're complete, switching over to the right. Try to keep looking forward at one point in front of you. Inhale to lower down and exhale to lift up. Another option that's between placing your foot completely down flat on the floor and standing up using both of your legs is to keep your left leg straight and just press the heel into the floor to help you just get over that little difficult part where you're just starting to stand up. Modify your workouts as is necessary for your body. Okay, so that's 10. And then you have a 1 minute rest. So you can walk around, get some water, fix your hair, just do whatever you need to do. Maybe stretching out the legs a little bit. So your legs and your glutes should be feeling pretty awake now. Body is nicely warmed up. After this 1 minute break comes to an end, we'll be repeating the same set or superset. So it will again be 20 squats and then 10 pistol squats on each leg. So start getting ready, coming into your squat position. Feet either hip width apart or slightly wider apart. And let's go. Inhale, lower down, and exhale to lift up. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. As you lower down, try and make sure that your lower back doesn't round. So think about pressing your hips as far back as you can. 7, 8, 9. Be aware of where your knees are in relation to your toes. 10. So they should be going in the same direction. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, almost finished, 17, 18, 19, and last one, 20. Okay, going straight onto pistol squat, so get your chair ready if you need to. I'll be showing the progression this time. Okay, so without sitting down on the chair, but using chair for balance. Inhale to lower down and exhale to stand up. You can place your right foot down on the floor or the heel down on the floor to help you get up if you're not yet strong enough to keep the right leg lifted up off the floor. That's 4. Try keep your front knee in line with your second and third toes. 5, 6. Just showing from the side. 7, 8. Now it's okay for the front knee to move in front of the toes. 9. Biomechanically it is necessary. 10. Okay, switching over to the other side. Okay, so left leg lifted, inhale to lower down, exhale to stand up. Option 1, place your foot flat on the floor. Option 2, press the heel into the floor. Option 3, keep your left. That's 4, 5, 6. Remember to keep pressing your right thigh out. 7. Keeping your right knee directly in line with your ankle. 8, 9, and last one, 10. Okay. Back to 1 minute rest. Preparing for next superset B, which consists of 10 single leg deadlifts, 10 on each leg, as well as 10 Romanian or elevated split squats. Again, 10 on each leg. If you're not familiar with the terminology superset, it means that you're doing 2 exercises straight after each other. So the second exercise is completed straight after the first one, and then there's a rest period after. So for this next set, working on, again, the legs and the glute muscles. For single leg deadlifts, you'll be starting with your feet hip width apart, and your goal is to keep your lifted leg in a straight line, so from the ankle to the crown of the head, the whole body moving in one straight line. Start with the left leg grounded and lift the right foot up. Start kicking your thigh back and your heel away from your body, hinging through your left hip. So there's no movement through the right hip, all of the work is in the left hip. Yeah, so 10 repetitions on the left side. Inhale to move your chest towards the floor and exhale to stand up. You can have a slight bend through your standing leg knee. If your balance is good, if you feel stable and in control, then you can complete the exercise without holding on to a chair or a table or a wall for balance. That's 7, 8. Now if you lose your balance, that's okay. It happens to everybody. Okay, so if you do lose your balance, then just get back into it. Repeat that rep if you need to, or hold on to the wall. 9 and 10. Okay, change legs. Find your level of support requirement, and then inhale to hinge forwards, exhale to stand up. Remember to keep a slight bend through your standing leg knee, the right leg this time. 3, 4, 5. Try to make sure that your movements are controlled. 6, This is not about speed. 7. Rather take your time and really feel the movement, control the movement. Work with your breath. 8. Feel the muscles working. You should feel a lot of work in your standing leg hip. 9. And 10. Okay, get ready for split squats. You'll need a chair or a bench to elevate your foot. Okay, let's start with the right foot lifted, left foot grounded. Inhale to bend both knees, right knee moving down towards the floor, and then exhale, standing up. 1. Try keep your front knee in line with your second and third toes. 3. 4. Keep the chest lifted, abdominals engaged. 5. And try to keep most of the weight in the front leg. 6. 7. So lots of work happening in that front left leg. 8. Last 2. 9. And 10. Okay, switch it over straight away. Right foot down, left foot lifted. Find your balance. And then begin. 1. As you inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift up. 2. 3. Stay focused on one point that doesn't move around. That will help with your balance. 4. 5. Engage in your core, your abdominals. Also helps with the balance. 6. 7. Keep breathing, almost there. 8. 9. And last one, finish it off. 10. Okay, 1 minute break. Walk around, get some water. Feel those legs. Feel the quads, the front of the thighs. They should be nice and toasty after those split squats. Okay, for the second round, it will be a repeat of the same 2 exercises. Again, single leg deadlifts, 10 on each side, with the goal to keep a straight line from the lifted leg ankle to the head or the ear. And then followed by split squats. So start getting ready, coming into position for your single leg deadlift. To progress it, if you feel comfortable with your balance, then you can use a weight in the right hand. Left leg is grounded, right leg is lifted. Try keep your shoulders and your hips level. Try not to let the right shoulder move down towards the ground. Okay, find your position and let's get ready. Inhale to move down towards the ground and exhale to lift up. 1. Try not to bring your right leg down before your upper body moves up. 2. The whole right side of the body moving as one unit, like a plank or a surfboard. 3. 4. If you feel comfortable with the one weight, then you can add on. You can have a weight in each hand. 5. And actually having a weight in each hand makes it a little bit easier to keep the shoulders in line with the hips. 6. But in any case, whether you have weights or no weights, you want to resist any rotation through the spine. 7. 8. 9, and almost finished. 10. Okay, change the legs. Ground down with the right leg, left leg is lifted. Kick your left heel out, kick the left thigh back. Inhale to tilt forward or hinge through the hip forward, and then exhale to stand back up. 1, 2, resist the left shoulder moving forward if you have a weight in your hand. 3, 4, 5. Again, focusing on control and stabilizing through the hips and the shoulders. 6. Abdominals are active, drawing the ribs back, drawing the belly towards the spine. 7. 8. 9. And last one. 10. Okay, put your weights down if you were using weights. Get ready for split squats. Place the right foot onto your chair or your bench. Okay, to make it more challenging, use a weight and hold with both hands. Inhale again to lower right knee down towards the floor, and then exhale to lift up. 2, 3, 4. If that's a bit too easy for you, then you can use 2 weights or a heavier weight. 5. And if using a weight is too much for you at the moment, that's okay. You'll get there with time as your body gets stronger. I think that's 8, 9, 10. Okay, I was off one. Okay, change to the other side. Left leg back. And inhale to lower down and exhale to lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, 1 minute break. And then preparing for superset C. So winding the chair out of the way and bringing a mat down onto the floor. The next 2 exercises are bridge variations. So focusing on the glutes and the hamstrings. The first one will be just a few bridges, three regular glute bridges, lifting and lowering the hips, and then 6 bridge walkouts. So walking the feet out away from you and bringing them back in towards your hips. Second exercise is a single leg bridge. 10 on each leg. Okay, so come lie down on your back, heels in line with your hips, hands down by the sides, shoulder blades flat underneath the rib cage. Press down through the heels, lift the pubic bone up towards the navel, and then press the hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale to lower down, rolling down the spine. 1 bone at a time. So rolling up the spine and then rolling down the spine. Again, make sure that your movements are controlled. Okay, on the next one, keep your hips lifted and ground down through the heels. Start walking your feet slowly away from your hips. So working to make your legs straighter. And take about 4 or 5 steps with each leg, or 3 to 5 steps. So reaching as far out as you can and then slowly bringing the feet back in. Try to take small steps out and in. So if you take 4 steps out, 4 steps back in again. And all the time you're working on keeping the hips lifted, pressing the floor away from you through the feet. Lift the pubic bone up towards the navel and lengthening the base of the spine, the coccyx, away from you. Now you'll feel a lot of work through the hamstrings. If you feel pain or discomfort in the lower back, check the position of your pelvis, your hips. Are you lifting the pubic bone up towards your navel? Are you grounding down through the heels? Okay, so that's 2. Going on to number 3 now. These are slow, and you should really be feeling the hamstrings working. They look easy, and they're not easy to actually do. Keep breathing, keep pressing the back of the head down into the floor, and if you need a little halfway break, you can do so now, and then bring the hips back up again. Continuing for number 4. You can also bring your hands to your hips, and that will help give you more immediate biofeedback on what's happening with the position of your hips. Slowly walking the feet back in again. Keep raising the hips up as high as you can, lengthening the lower back. And then start walking the feet back out again, nice and slowly. If you always step out with your right foot, try alternating, stepping out with the left. I try to keep it even on both sides. So all the odd ones, I start with the right leg moving first, and then all the evens, I move with the left leg first. Okay, that's number 5. Last one. I'm sure you can't wait. And if these are too much for you at the moment, then just do as many as you can, and you'll be able to build up each time, getting a little bit stronger. Walking the feet back in again, and then to lower down, roll down the spine. Bring the knees in towards the chest and just stretch out the glutes and release the lower back. Place the feet back down on the floor and sway the hips on the thighs side to side. Just releasing the lower back. Okay, preparing for single leg bridge. Bring your feet back into bridge position. You should just be able to touch your heels with your fingertips. Ground down through the left leg, pick the right leg up, and press through the left heel, lifting the hips up off the floor. 2, 3, 4, try and keep your hips level. 5, and keep pressing your right heel away from the right hip. 6, 7, 8, last 2, 9, and 10. Catch. Release the right foot down, lift up the left leg. Make sure the hips are level. And then exhale, lift the hips up, inhale, lower down. 2, 3, imagine that you're pressing your left hip away from your shoulder. 4, 5, so you're trying to keep both sides of the torso as long as each other. 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Bring the hips down. Bring the knees in towards the chest and just release. Rock gently from side to side across the lower back. Maybe make circles with your knees, hands on the knees. Or you can rock up and down the length of the spine, hands underneath the thighs. Just giving the muscles around the spine a little bit of a massage. Can feel really good. Okay, 20 seconds left of this rest period. So you can start getting ready for the second round. First up, those lovely bridge walkouts. So getting into position, shoulder blades flat underneath the rib cage. fingertips just brushing back of the heels. Heels in line with the hips. And then lift up into a bridge. Just take a couple of movements here, activating the glutes again and finding the correct pelvic positioning. Then start walking the feet out, nice and slowly, small steps. Make sure that your body is in control through each part of the movement. Starting to walk the feet back in again. That's 1. Remember to keep alternating which foot you start stepping out with. Feel those hamstrings really working hard, and start bringing the feet back in towards you, keeping the hips lifted. 2, reset your pelvis as much as you need to. Start walking the feet back in again. 3, halfway. You can bring the hips down, have a quick little break. Reset the pelvis, lift the hips up. Walk the feet out. Nice and slowly, one at a time. Small steps. And then starting to bring the feet back in again. That's 4. And walking the feet back in again. 5. Last one. Reset the pelvis. Slowly step the feet out. 3 or 4 small steps for each foot. And then walking it back in, 3 or 4 small steps for each foot. And 6. Roll down the spine. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Release the lower back, the glutes. And reset the feet back down on the floor. And then lifting the right leg up, grounding down through the left heel. Lift the pubic bone up towards the navel and lift the hips up. Adding in a small pulse if you want some extra work. If this is too much for you, then just a normal single leg lifting up and lowering down of the hips. That's 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And last one, 10. Release your right foot down to the floor. Lift up the left leg. Kick your heel out. And if you're adding in a pulse, then lowering down halfway, lifting back up again before bringing your hips all the way back down again. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And last one, 10. Bring the hips down. Bring both knees in towards the chest and rock gently from side to side across the lower back. And then place feet on the floor, mat width apart, and move the knees and hips from side to side, like windscreen wipers on the car. You can take any other movements that feel good, maybe rocking up and down the length of the spine. And then starting to make your way up to seated and then to all fours. So coming onto your hands and your knees, hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. And just warming up the wrists a little bit. We'll be doing a bit of work with a bit of weight bearing through the wrists, so it's always a good idea just to make sure that the wrists are happy. Start with circling the shoulders around the wrists, just taking 3 circles in each direction. For this set, there will be 3 exercises, 10 donkey kicks to fire hydrants, 10 side plank clamps, and 10 supine hip extensions. Lift the belly towards the spine to stabilize the lower back. Kick your right leg back, and then back to neutral. Bring your right knee out to the side, and then back to neutral. And that's 1. Kick back, donkey kick, kick out to the side, fire hydrant. 2. 3. Work on stabilizing the lower back, so draw the lower belly back towards the spine. 4. 5. You should feel the work in the glutes. 6. 7. Press the armpits away from the floor, stabilizing through the shoulders. 8. External rotation through the upper arms. 9. And 10. Change to the left side, right knee down. Kick your left leg back, knee is bent, back to neutral. Lift left leg out to the side and then back to neutral. 1. 2. Kick back, come back to neutral, kick out, and back to neutral. 3. 4. 5. Keep stabilizing through the whole torso. Belly to spine, armpits press away from the floor. That's 7. 8. 9. And 10. Good. Okay, and then again, circle the shoulders around the wrists. 2 or 3 circles in each direction around the wrists. And then make your way down onto the floor, lying down on your left side. One of the easiest options for side plank clamps is to have the left forearm on the floor and then lifting the hips up away from the floor, rotating the right thigh up towards the ceiling. Ensure that the hips are stable. As you exhale, lift the knee up towards the ceiling and inhale, bring the knee back down to the left. Even easier option, the hips are on the floor and your upper arm is also on the floor as though you're lying on the beach. And then again, stabilizing through the hips. Exhale, raise your right knee up. Inhale, lower the right knee down. So find your appropriate level of resistance. More challenging option is having the legs straight, feet on the floor, forearm on the floor. And then, so you're in a side plank, and then raising your right leg up and then lowering it down, or rather rotating through your right hip. Again, focusing on stabilizing through the hips. So whichever level or modification you are at, Complete 10 repetitions, each movement focusing on controlled movements. After your 10 repetitions, switch over to the other side. So again, easier option, the knees are on the floor, the hips are on the floor. Stabilizing through the hips and shoulders, rotating through the left hip this time, left foot's toes on the right foot, or the ankle. You should feel the work in the side of the hip. More challenging, forearm on the floor, knees on the floor. Once you're on your forearm, make sure that you're pressing the armpit away from the floor, so you're not collapsing into the shoulder. And more challenging, the hips are lifted up off the floor, the knees are on the floor. Most challenging, legs are straight and the right knee is lifted up off the floor. In all cases, rotation through the left hip. So complete your 10 repetitions if you haven't already. And then when you're done, come lie down on your belly. So lying face down. And preparing for supine hip extensions, supine leg extensions. Your goal here is to keep the pelvis grounded and lifting up only one leg at a time, keeping the knee straight. You're going to have your hands underneath your forehead. Press down through the left foot, lift the pubic bone up towards the navel, and then lift the right leg up as high as you can off the floor, keeping the right hip grounded. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Change legs, ground down through the right foot, pick up the left leg. 1, 2, 3, make sure the hips are stable. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Okay, you have a 1-minute break. You can bend the knees, sway the legs from side to side, releasing through the lower back. Taking any other movements that feel good. Anywhere that you need to release your body, stretch any muscles. And when you're ready, come back up onto all fours. Wrists underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. You can make a couple of circles around the wrists. And then preparing for donkey kick to fire hydrant. Lift the belly towards the spine. So engaging the lower abdominals, middle of the abdominals, as well as the upper abdominals, stabilizing the pelvis as well as the rib cage. Okay, and then starting on the right side, kick your right leg back, come back to neutral, and then kick the right leg out to the side and back to neutral. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one on the side, and 10. Bring your right knee back down to the floor, change to the left side. Left leg kicks back to center, left leg out to the side, back to center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, last 2, 9, and 10. Okay, come down onto your left side. Get ready for side plank clams. And lifting up right leg, lowering down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Change to the other side. Right side of the body down on the floor, left leg doing the work. Find your appropriate level of resistance and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Good. Come down and then make your way down onto your belly. Lying face down on the floor, hands underneath the forehead. Lift the pubic bone up towards the navel. Press the hips down into the floor. Press the left foot down. Kicking the right leg up off the floor. Keeping the knee straight. 1, 2, 3. You should feel the work in the glutes and the hamstring. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Change legs. Press down through the right, pick up the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and then you can roll over onto your back. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Press the right knee out away from the body. Interlace the hands behind the left thigh or in front of the left shin, coming into supine pigeon. You should feel stretch in the outside edge of the right hip, deep in the glutes, deep in the hip. And let the breath begin to slow down. Let the head and shoulders relax down towards the floor. And you may want to rock gently from side to side, or rather to stay in stillness. Find what feels best for you. Try to keep the hips level here. And then starting to switch over to the other side. Releasing the hands, bringing left foot down and right foot down. Cross left ankle over right knee. Interlace the hands behind the right thigh or in front of the right shin. Think about the space between each armpit and hip bone being equal. Let the breath be long and slow and deep. And continuing to take deep breaths. Feeling the body begin to cool down. The heart rate beginning to slow. Head and shoulders relaxing down towards the ground. You have option to rock gently from side to side across the lower back, or to stay in stillness. And then starting to make your way out of this shape, release the hands and unfold the legs. Knees together over the hips and arms out to the side, 90-degree bend through the elbows. Bring the knees down to the right side, coming into a supine or reclined twist. You can bring right hand on top of left thigh and keep grounding the left shoulder down. You have option to look to the left, straight up, or to the right, depending on how your neck feels. And then on your next inhalation, bring the knees back to center over the hips, and exhale, bring the knees down to the left side. Option left hand on right leg, and ground the right shoulder down. Last breath here. And on your next inhalation, bring your knees back to center. And then make your way up to seated. Swing the legs around, come onto hands and knees. And then step your left leg forward. Left knee directly over the ankle with the hips pressed forwards. So if you can press your hips forwards and your knee is over your toes, crawl your left foot even further forward. Then bring your hands to your left thigh and press the upper body away from the lower body. You should feel stretched through the right hip flexor, in front of the right hip. Engage your right glute to help press the hips forwards. Then bend your right knee and reach for your ankle, either with the right arm or the left arm. Maybe you can hold on with both, and you'll get a big stretch through the front of your right thigh, the quadricep. If you have both hands on the ankle, then shoulders are back. Okay, gently release, bring hands down to the floor. Draw the hips back, so hips are over the right knee, and straighten out your left leg. Lift the left toes up towards your knee, stretching out the hamstring, the back of the left thigh. Lengthen through the spine before folding forward over your leg. Maybe you will not be able to fold forward very much, and that's okay, so long as you feel stretch in the back of the left thigh. You may also feel it in the left calf, depending how much you bring the toes back. Okay, bring the left leg back and then switch over to the other side. If you need protection underneath your knee, then you can double your mat over or use a cushion. Step the right foot forward. Press the hips forward and then have the right knee directly over the right ankle. Lift the belly, lengthen the spine, and then bring hands to the right thigh, gently pressing upper body away from the lower body. Engage the left glutes to help press the hips forwards. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. And then you can start bending the left knee, bringing the ankle back towards your hip, reaching either with the left hand or the right hand, or maybe both. And try reach for the ankle or the shin rather than the foot. Feel the stretch in the left thigh, the front of the left thigh. If you feel pain in the knee, then you need to make some adjustments, either adding some padding underneath your knee, or maybe leaving this out. Sometimes just adjusting the positioning of your foot or which hand you're holding with can also sort out problems in the knee. Okay, release the hands and then draw the hips back, straighten out your right leg, lift the right toes up towards your nose. Lengthen through the spine, and then start to fall forward over the right leg. The straighter the spine, the more stretch you will feel in the back of the leg. The more the toes lift up away from the floor, the more the stretch through the calf. And then starting to come up, unfold the mat and step your feet forward toward the front of the mat. Knees are soft and fold forward over the legs. Let the upper body just hang down towards the ground. You can bring hands to elbows and sway from side to side around the legs, or you can stay in stillness. Or you can also just let the arms hang down towards the floor. Another option is to bring the hands behind the knees and then hug your upper body close to your legs. Press the heels down into the ground and lift the sitting bones up towards the sky. Keep lengthening the spine as much as you're able to. And just taking a couple more breaths. And then releasing. Inhale to roll up the spine and come up to standing. And that brings us to the end of the workout today. Thanks for joining.